Hi, my name is Gary Petersen. I'm a staff developer and specialist at EASTCONN, the RESC located in Hampton, Connecticut. I've been asked to briefly go over the ELA ideas that I've been reading about and hearing about around acceleration. And so that districts can start to plan for accelerated learning within their schools. So when thinking about that, I started to put together a list of um, concepts, ideas, processes that districts are going to start to have to think about in order to accelerate the learner. So I'd like to share those with you. The first process I thought would be important to accelerate the learner would be tied to a process of identifying essential standards. Districts are going to have to prioritize what they teach first and foremost. Connecticut has gone through that process and published essential standards, as well as EASTCONN has created and can replicate a process for districts to prioritize their own standards. But the key here is that there should be a message to teachers of what is most important in a curriculum. A second idea that needs to be communicated to teachers and like are that we need to be maintaining grade level standards even in the face of students not being in school for part or some of the year. We need to maintain our expectations also continually during instruction. So we will be instructing at a grade level. However, we can differentiate when students have different needs. So for instance, I could be instructing at a first grade level in reading, knowing that some of those students still need some phonics work that may have been covered in kindergarten. I can do that in small group or conferring style. A third idea that I think is critical and pragmatic is we need to adjust our curriculum maps. In the EL curriculum, a free published curriculum online, they have made the distinction of going from 4 units in a year to 3 units. At TC, Teachers College Reading and Writing Project, it's often published that they want 6 to 7 units done in a year. And I might make the suggestion that you might go down to 4 units in a year. In this way, you're providing that time that kids will need and teachers will need in order to differentiate to accelerate that learning. The fourth concept that I'd like to explore with teachers would be explicit vocabulary instruction around tier 2 academic vocabulary. It could be said that we taught this vocabulary during the course of the year, but there seems to be an extra emphasis and importance on teaching it, pre-teaching it, and using it actively in our teaching so that students are better able to express themselves using the academic tier 2 and tier 3 vocabulary. Another focus to accelerate the learners would be an extreme focus on foundational skills, phonics, vocabulary work, particularly in the lower grades, where students will be coming in not being exposed to a systematic phonics program over the last year. So we do think that this would be part of maybe adjusting the curriculum to make sure that there is work and repeated work on the phonics curriculum. A sixth recommendation to help accelerate or to start thinking about is the kids will need more time to read. This can be created by adjusting the curriculum. Imagining having a normal 4-week curriculum, 4-week unit here, but then maybe a 2 to 3 week break from the next unit where you're able to teach into some more vocabulary, or able to extend this 4 week to 5 weeks so you can do some explicit vocabulary instruction, and you're not going to be rushed to get to the next unit. You're going to be accelerating what they need in foundational or phonics or reading skills that they need at grade level. And the final idea that I was thinking about was writing. In order to accelerate writing, we need to provide opportunities for students to go through the writing process more times. Simply put, in a TC typical unit, Teachers College unit, you might go through the writing process 3 or 4 times, and you might not complete the process for all of these pieces. But in units such as the up the ladder units provided at TC or by TC, the writing process is replicated and gone through between 5, 6, and 7 times. So by increasing the number of times you're going through the writing process, making them faster and smaller, you're going up more steps of improvement by repeating the writing process. There are a few other ideas that I'd like to talk about that I could elaborate on at a later time, but we could think about reading plans, where you're explicitly teaching students to move up levels of text, for instance, using guided reading like experiences. We could think about fluency plans that include a great deal of repeated reading. And in that way, we can have concrete plans that might be addressed in those in-between times of curriculum where students are untethered to a unit, but tethered to books that they love. This is not a complete list. As I read through, I just wanted to start the conversation around what is the definition of acceleration and what are concrete ways we can start to think about accelerating student readers and writers. Thank you for listening.